local issues of great importance. And yet we counted up how many times the Chronicle had even mentioned U.S. aid to Israel, and found that out of that over 250 stories, they had only mentioned aid to Israel 3 times, usually in the last sentence of a story. And how many times had they given the full, accurate figure of the amount of aid that goes to Israel? We found they had never once done that. Sadly, what I've mentioned here today is really just the tip of the iceberg about the coverage and really lack of coverage of Israel and Palestine. I cannot suggest too greatly the profound seriousness of this situation. This is potentially an apocalyptic situation, as we see tragic war in Iraq, the discussion of perhaps warfare, certainly sanctions against Iran, against Syria. This is promoting regional instability of the greatest danger to the region, to all people in the region, to the entire world, and certainly to Americans as well. We need drastically better coverage and fuller coverage of what's going on. We need the full facts. Our children, I feel, I have 3 children, I feel that our children are being placed at risk by American policies. Now, other Americans can and should draw their own conclusions, but they cannot draw informed conclusions without having full, unbiased information. And we're not getting that yet. We won't get that until we all demand it.
You're listening to the Edge Radio program, a show so hot, your radio might catch on fire.
The Edge radio broadcast is looking for voluntary international correspondents and interviewers. Are you able to talk to someone objectively? Can you set aside your beliefs and allow others to express theirs? Can you ask searching questions whilst remaining impartial? Would you like to be in the forefront of the exploration into the unexplained, politics, religion, environment and health? Do you want to be part of the Edge broadcast search for truth? Most importantly, can you smile and remain friendly even if your belief system comes into question? If you have answered yes to the above, we would like to hear from you. Previous journalistic or broadcast experience is not required, but a deep interest in unmasking the shroud of lies is essential. As a volunteer correspondent, you will become an important member of the Edge radio broadcast staff. More information can be found on the Edge's homepage. Just look for the link "We are looking for Edge correspondents" just under the main media player at www.theedgeam.com. Please note that the role of correspondent is not guaranteed, and it also depends on your willingness to communicate with a wide variety of people who have varied experiences and beliefs, which may not be similar to your own experiences and beliefs. As a correspondent, you will be an essential element in the Edge broadcast search for truth. Just click "We are looking for Edge correspondents" just under the main media player on the Edge's homepage at www.theedgeam.com. theedgeam.com.
Political and religious news, supernatural happenings, unexplained mysteries, conspiracy theories, and special guests along with your calls right here on the Edge radio broadcast with your host, Daniel Ott.
Welcome back. You're listening to and watching the Edge Thursday Reports here in the Edge's UK studio, and my name is Andy Radford. Before we go to Gina Romano's interview, just a quick reminder of how you can get involved with the Edge radio and television broadcast. If you go to the Edge's news page, you can find that at www.theedgeam.com. There's a link in the top corner called News Hotline. This is for you to use if you have interesting articles or a very important news story to give to us. Just click this and you'll be able to send an email direct to the editorial news desk. Frank DeMora is the author of the book The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth, and he is the founder of DeMoraMinistry.com. Frank has spent 29 years studying and compiling information to present to the public regarding Bible prophecy and end times. In this interview, Frank discusses the rebuilt Roman Empire and its significance to the rise of the Antichrist, as well as current news events as they pertain to prophecy. Frank's passion for his work instills a sense of excitement as he explains how the world's current turbulence is preparing us for the most climatic moment in all history. Here is Gina Romano now talking to Frank DeMora. It's a long interview and there is a break in between.
Hi, this is Gina Romano, Edge correspondent. Today I'm here with Frank DeMora of DeMoraMinistry.com. Frank is also the author of The Last Chronicles of Planet Earth, and he's here today to talk to us about Bible prophecy. Frank?
Yes.
Hi, thank you for coming on the show.
You're very welcome.
Why don't you begin by telling us about your ministry and how it was founded, and then we can go from there.
All right. Well, actually, it started in 1976 when I graduated from college, and I just moved out to California. Just before I moved out to California, I had a cousin of mine talk to me about the Lord, and he used some prophecy that was going to happen. And I blew him off. I told him he was crazy. I didn't want anything to do with God. Just leave me alone. Well, after I moved, 3 months later, I had something came over me that said that I was missing something. And so I really didn't know what it was, and it happened to my wife about the same time, and we thought, well, maybe we should try going back to church, and we did that. We were raised Catholic, so we went back to the Catholic Church, and there was nothing there. So I just couldn't pinpoint what the heck it was that we were missing. It was a very confusing time for me. And so I had a call from my cousin who had witnessed to me 3 months earlier. And I asked him, one of the things that I found out was no matter what I said to him, I mean, back in New York in my old days, I used some language that I would never use again. But I asked him, out of all that I threw at you, why, all the things that I remembered from you, Gary, was the fact that you had a smile on your face no matter what I said, and it was the kind of love that poured through. And I said, how do you do that? And so he described the love of Jesus that I'd never heard before because I had never read the Bible before. Bringing up as a Catholic, at that time it was in Latin, and the priest was facing, the altar, so I knew nothing about the Bible except for Christmas and Easter. But I asked him about how do you get that? I mean, I want that peace that you have. And so through that long-distance conversation, I accepted the Lord. That was a Saturday, on a Saturday night. Well, the next day, I got a knock on my door, and Jehovah's Witnesses showed up on my doorstep, and I had thought that God sent them. I thought, we got a great God. I accepted the Lord over the phone, and here the next day he sends me people to get learned. Little did I know that it was a cult at the time. So here's what happened. When I started to study with the Jehovah's Witnesses, God had put this compulsion